YouTube? We're back again today for another gameplay impression video with my good friend Nick. We just got done playing Heir to the Pharaoh from Eagle Griffin Games. This is a two-player abstract point salad kind of game where there's going to be different ways you can score points depending on where you position monuments, whether you win pyramid battles with some blind bidding. There's a set collection aspect to it. There's a couple different aspects to the game. Quite a few mixing pieces going together. First impressions, what'd you think of our first gameplay of it?
I rather liked it. Once we got past rules, just interpreting and understanding them can be difficult. But once you understand the lingo and then kind of their turn order, goes pretty quick.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily the case of the bad rule book. I don't think the rule booklet's bad. It's just once you're first getting into, you're like, all right, this card does this, and this card does this, and this card does this. I feel like it almost would have been better if we learned how to score first and then went from there.
Yeah, that would actually have been a lot more helpful.
Because it is, like I said, a point salad game. I think there's 4 different ways to score in this game. You're going to be bidding on god cards every single round. You play over 8 rounds. But the rounds, they were really short once we knew what we were doing.
Exactly, that's what I meant. I was going to say, once we got the turn order and realized how we were going, I'd say the first 3 turn orders probably took, most of our gameplay, and then the following 5 took minutes apiece.
Yeah, I'd say the first 3 rounds easily last about as long as the 5 rounds. So if we were to sit down and play this again, I think we could probably knock this out in,
25 minutes.
Yeah, it would be a relatively quick game. So my initial impression is, if you have someone that you routinely play 2-player games with, I could see this being one you might want to have in your collection.
Absolutely, yes.
It is very abstract though. Like, they have the Egyptian theme. The components are very nice, and they got the board looks cool now. But it's still, you don't feel the theme's pasted on.
It is. Yeah, it's all just cardboard.
All right, least favorite aspect of the game?
Maybe it was just ours. Our board is not sitting flat. It's just one of those little things that hurt me. Yeah, that's component-wise. That's one of the little things that hurt me.
Yeah, I imagine we could probably just bend it down and fix that. But you shouldn't have
I kind of tried even before we started. I realized that, so I kind of bent it, but I certainly don't want to rip it or tear it. So I didn't stress it too far.
Gameplay-wise, is there anything you didn't like about it?
No, I think I picked it up pretty quickly after those first 3, and I liked it a lot.
Now, do you think all of the scoring options were viable to you? Do you think doing each thing is worth, about the same amount of points?
No.
Well, I know what you're... Go ahead. I think I know what you're going to say, though.
Part of it is you play these monuments that are worth points, and then you have direction tiles that one of the 2 players claims as their own. I claim it, that means Tony can. So I saw that quickly, and I thought that might be a great way to capitalize. And as you can kind of see there in the front of the board, I have 5 monuments in a row. 4 of the tiles are mine.
Now, to be fair, I completely just let him have his way with this.
Yes.
And he was also very fortunate because there's this thing called the Pharaoh's Favor. And when a specific god has the Pharaoh's Favor, you'll get to do kind of like a special action.
Yes.
And so normally you couldn't have 5 in a row because you can't put things right next to each other. However, due to the Pharaoh's Favor coming up the right way for him a couple different times, he was able to put 5 in a row. And that was my bad. But I think maybe if I would have got one of those, I don't know.
If you would have gotten,
I think if I would have just canceled out one of them, the score would have been about tied.
More. Yeah, much more.
So yeah, I think all of them are pretty viable though. Like, if you would have just let me have my way with the Suns, that would have been 16 points. Yeah, I think the scoring is pretty well balanced.
Yeah, now that I think about that, yeah, it really is. It's very evenly balanced.
Now, one thing I will say about this, I commented that I think this would be a good 2-player game to add to a collection if you have a lot of 2-player games you play with somebody routinely. I don't think this is one you're going to be playing over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I see like a Mage Wars or something like that where there's a lot of variability. There's not very much variability in this game. Nothing's really going to change from game to game aside from where you place stuff. But for the most part, it is just rinse, wash, and repeat over and over and over again, which could be a turn-off to some people. So, after my first impression, I think, I enjoy the game. I think that if you play a lot of 2-player games, this isn't a bad one to add to your collection. Your thoughts?
I agree. Actually, I agree completely.
So I will probably get this played once or twice more with my wife, so I can give you her perspective on the game because she likes the lighter stuff. And then you'll probably see a review of this in the next month or so. So that is Heir to the Pharaoh from Eagle Griffin Game and Alf Sigurd. I hate. Oh, that's one more thing. I don't like the graphic design in this game.
Really?
I don't like. No, we even had the issue where we're like, is that an F or a 3 or a card or a number?
There are a few minor.
Yeah, but there shouldn't be. I understand they were going for the theme, but yeah, it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, but a little bit annoying. So that is Heir to the Pharaoh. If you're enjoying this coverage, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know if you were an Egyptian god, what would you make people worship of yours? You made people worship as cats and dogs, right? What would you make people worship of yours?
My good-looking legs. Yeah.
So people are just gonna have. So instead of like
Nope,
the Sphinx, there's just gonna be your legs,
waist down,
giant
legs.
statues of your legs.
Bronze and gold.
You know what? I have really good-looking calves, so I think I might go with my calves. But let me know in the comments below, what would you have everybody idolize? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.